کنگره آمریکا. اجلاس فوری نمایندگان ارشد به دنبال کشف توطئه تروریستی رژیم و طرح ترور سفیر عربستان در واشنگتن. 12 اکتبر 2011 20 مهر 1390. فراخونهای نمایندگان کنگره آمریکا به خاتمه استمالت و اتخاذ سیاست قاطع در برابر بانکدار مرکزی تروريسم، حذف فوری نام مجاهدین از لیست و حفاظت کامل از اشرف. نمایندگان کنگره آمریکا جان لوئیس، همرزم مارتین لوتر کینگ، عضو رهبری حزب دموکرات، مشهور به وجدان کنگره نمایندگان مردم آمریکا.
We're going to walk together. We're going to stand together. We're going to sing together. We're going to stay together. We're going to moan together. We're going to groan together. And after a while, we'll say, freedom, freedom, freedom now!
رورا باکر، رئیس کمیته تحقیقات و نظارت بر اعمال دولت در کنگره آمریکا. قاضی تدپو، عضو کمیته خارجی کنگره آمریکا. باب فیلنر، نایب رئیس کمیته بازنشستگان نظامی. جودی چو، عضو کمیته خارجی و عضو کمیته قضایی. پروفسور آلن گرسون، حقوقدان برجسته آمریکا، مشاور ارشد در هیئت نمایندگی آمریکا در ملل متحد 1998 2003.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are here today to discuss a very, very important topic. And I note right away that the individual, the Honorable Congressman Judy Chu, that made this meeting possible, has just joined us. So I welcome her, and I'm sure that those here from California, from her own district, also welcome her today. Let me just say one word before I turn the podium over. We have two different titles for this particular session. The original briefing, which I think is apt, says 450 days after the court ruling on Iran opposition, why is the State Department flouting U.S. law? And today, it's a little bit more diplomatic. It asks the question, why is there a delay? Now let me say this. I served in a senior position at the Department of Justice and also at the Department of State, and I take very seriously the idea of flouting the law. That is a very, very serious charge. So I don't want to use my own words about flouting the law. I simply want to quote from the ruling, the decision of the United States Court of Appeals on January 12, 2010. And it concluded that the Secretary of State, quote, has failed to accord the PMOI the due process protections. Those are the protections of the United States Constitution. And it's not only the U.S. Constitution that requires it, but it is also the past decisions of the U.S. Court of Appeals. So one has to ask the question, why would the State Department, with all of its legion of lawyers, refuse to comply with something so elementary that you learn in high school civics? And does this have anything to do with the delay that we have seen? And I think this question is particularly auspicious today as we hear the news of Iran's involvement in this terrible plot to assassinate a foreign ambassador on U.S. soil. We may ask ourselves, is there any connection between all of this? I'm not suggesting that there is, But there is something peculiar when it takes so long for the State Department not only to reach a decision, but also to fail to accord minimal due process. Well, a lot of questions have been raised, and I'm very pleased to now introduce the Honorable Judy Chu. The Congresswoman is the Democratic representative from the state of California. She is a distinguished member of the House Judiciary Committee, where she serves on its subcommittee on crime, terrorism, and homeland security. Congresswoman Chu, please.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for that very warm welcome. And it's so great to see my friends and the most dedicated activists ever, the California Society for Democracy in Iran, back here on Capitol Hill. I was very, very happy to host you, and I'm always impressed by your commitment to the cause. It's because of you that this issue has gotten so far, and I would say it's only a matter of time before we are able to see some kind of victory. And in fact, you have had, of course, a victory in the court's decision, the U.S. Court of Appeals, which did find that PMOI was not awarded due process when the petition to be removed as a terrorist organization was denied by the State Department. But 450 days have passed, and yet we still haven't had the action. And the State Department still has not given a response. Every day of delay means another day where peaceful MEK democratic leaders and activists are at risk. And it's so important that the U.S. uses its influence to protect the advocates who are fighting for democracy so that they can continue to do what they do. And we know that Iran is using this U.S. terrorist designation to attack MEK leaders who are opposed to the rule. As long as MEK is listed as a foreign terrorist organization, thousands of the residents at Camp Ashraf are at risk and subject to brutality. And in fact, I will never forget seeing the video of the last attack that was done, and it was terrifying. So we cannot wait any longer, and we must make sure that those who are fighting for democracy are safe. So it's well past the time to heed the federal court's order and to remove, we must remove Iran's largest opposition group from that terrorist designation. Let's keep up the pressure. Let's make sure that your voices are heard. We will continue until we see this done. So thank you, and I hope you have a very, very wonderful and informative briefing.